Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our podcast that introduces our trucking community to experts providing real life insights to help you run your business, navigate your professional journey, or simply to spark a new idea. Today, we're joined by Aaron Beeman, Business Development Officer of WEX Capital. WEX Capital is a premier financial technology partner specializing in transparent, debt-free cash flow solutions and freight factoring for fleets and owner-operators across the United States. We're fortunate to have Aaron with us today to share his unique perspective on factoring. Aaron, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Been looking forward to this conversation. It's awesome to be here.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into it. From your perspective, what is the current state of the trucking market?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's no secret that carriers have been navigating a really, really tough, prolonged freight recession the past couple of years, especially post-COVID. Yeah. We've dealt with anything from volatile fuel costs, unexpected wars, tariffs, changing regulations, razor-thin margins on loads. As we move through the calendar year 2026, we're definitely slowly seeing a market rebound in the data. Volumes creeping back up, margins seems to be less compressed for most fleets, and a lot of companies that held off on buying new equipment the last couple of years are actually finally starting to get back in the game to add more trailers and tractors to kind of start growing and scaling again. Ton of optimism going around, but it's definitely hard not to get excited, especially with what we've dealt with the past couple of years. But as you know, John, at the end of the day, smart cash flow management is still the name of the game.
Cash flow is everything, whether it's a small business or it's a large business. It's all about the cash. Cash is the lifeblood of any organization. So that's why one of the reasons we're so excited to partner with WEX and to bring this solution to our community. Let's be greedy for a second and just focus on TTT, but also WEX Capital. Why is factoring through WEX the best choice for our 200,000 plus members of our community?
Yeah, it comes down to a few things, I think. Speed, transparency, and scaling, and the power of our fuel discount network. So a lot of factoring companies out there. There's a lot of misinformation in the industry and pretty much all of trucking, unfortunately. It's just kind of part of it with how big this industry is. A lot of other factoring companies out there, you'll get hit with hidden fees. We like to call them junk fees in this space. Complicated termination traps and minimums. It really, really pays to read the fine print when you're getting signed up with a factoring company. We try to avoid all of that, and we get you paid in as little as 24 hours, sometimes even sooner of that if you want to do a wire option. Many factoring companies, a lot of our competitors, they'll rely on credit lines also that can dry up quickly during bad markets and bad economies. Since we're actually a publicly traded bank, WEX is FDIC backed, which means you're going to have uninterrupted funding and reliable funding of your invoices, pretty much regardless of what's happening in the overall economy and market conditions that at the end of the day you really don't have any control over. Another big advantage of working with us is our fuel card network and integration. Most people actually know WEX for our fuel card network.
Sure.
We can flow your factored funds actually straight onto your WEX fuel card if you wish, kind of allowing both to talk to each other, so to speak, behind the scenes. That means you book the load, pull the load, deliver it, you get paid within 24 hours, and you all at the same time, you're unlocking huge discounts and rebates on diesel, tires, maintenance, and a bunch of other stuff while you're actually on the road. So our whole goal is to kind of be your outsourced back office, so to speak. So you can basically just focus on, doing what you do best, which is driving and trying to grow your fleet.
Yeah. All of that are core reasons why TTT pushed so hard to partner with WEX. And to keep it really simple, the value proposition for us and our members is that WEX is easy to work with. It's a trusted partner, and it provides so much value from the back office perspective, and for our owner operators, and let's talk specifically about the new owner operators that are just starting up their authority. How does factoring protect their business beyond just getting paid quickly?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's easy to forget factoring can act as also sort of a risk management tool and a shield for your business. So before you even hook up your trailer to go pick up a load, you can access our free credit check database. There's like about 70 to 80,000 companies, brokers, and shippers in there at any given time that's being updated daily. You can check that before you even go there to the shipper to pick it up to make sure the broker shipper is actually in good financial condition, has a history of paying their bills on time, if at all. We also take responsibility for that collections work, as I mentioned earlier, with being that outsourced back office, and help you manage that risk so you don't get left holding the bag on any bad debt. So that's a huge advantage to especially new owner operators when it's really hard to actually find it's hard to find customers in the first 6 months to a year to even give you a shot.
Right.
So it can be a big difference maker to actually get cash in the door and keep your wheels moving.
Absolutely. Again, you need cash to run the business. It's the lifeblood, especially for a owner operator just starting out. You mentioned that Wex Capital is a bank, not a middleman. Why does that matter to a fleet that is trying to grow their business?
I'd say it all comes down to flexibility. It's a massive differentiator in this space. So, as mentioned earlier, Wex has that institutional backing. We don't really have any funding limits per se. If a member of your community, for example, starts with 1 truck today and lands a contract the next month and needs to add, let's say, 5 trucks and 5 drivers overnight, we can help you scale those limits pretty much instantaneously. We're not going to try to inhibit your company's growth just because of our back office lending capacity. So that's a huge, flexibility is everything, because as you know, in the trucking industry, things change at the drop of a hat, and every day's different. So you never know what you're going to come across.
That's absolutely true. and also what's true is that word of mouth, and it spreads quickly in the trucking community. It's a huge industry, but if we really boil it down, it's a community of fleets, carriers, owner operators, service providers like Wex, like TTT. Specifically about factoring, what would you say is the biggest misconception or myth around factoring?
I would say probably the biggest myth in the factoring space is that if you are using factoring, that automatically means that your business is struggling, or that you're struggling with cash flow internally, and that it's also a super high interest loan. Right. It's actually not really a loan at all. There's zero debt added to the company's balance sheet. It also lets you unlock your hard-earned money weeks, if not months ahead of schedule, so you can help keep fuel in the tank, keep your drivers on the road, and continue to grow as quickly as possible. A lot of larger fleets actually use factoring as a liquidity play rather than an operating expense need. That really comes into play with your community as well, and what you guys do with helping people source new equipment. It's huge for larger fleets that they come across a good deal on a trailer or tractor. Boom, they have the cash flow that they need. They can take advantage of it and add that to their business. It's a tool that pretty much companies of all sizes and financial situations can use effectively to get them from point A to where they want to go.
Excellent. And if you can, Aaron, share what you can about perhaps a situation or a time when things didn't go so well. What the lesson you've learned that our community listening here today can relate to?
Oh, man. Well, I have a question for you now too. How much time do you have to record this podcast? Because we could be here all day. Mentioned earlier, things change all the time in trucking. Every single day is different, which also kind of makes it fun and exciting. In trucking, if you don't look at mistakes and ways to improve constantly, then it's really hard to survive long term. I'd say with Wex, early on as technology continued to change, we realized we had to move faster to protect our carriers from things like identity theft, double brokering scams, everything else that's really come to a head the past couple of years post-COVID. We learned that algorithms and AI are great and can be super helpful, but at the end of the day, trucking especially, you have to back it up with that human touch and human support. Yeah. That's why we've moved away from the hands-off tech-only model and decided to assign dedicated human representatives to all of your accounts with us. So if something goes sideways, as they inevitably do in trucking, a piece of paperwork is missing, or something happens on a load, or you're even like, or like something is not accurate on the paperwork you submit, you're always able to reach out to a live account rep and not just some AI chat bot that doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oh, here. The same with our platform, and that's another thing that TTT and WEX have in common. We recognize and we understand the market that we're serving, and what does the market want? What do owner operators want? What do fleets and carriers want? Of course, they want to leverage technology, but they prefer to speak to a live person. So what I like to tell our fleets, carriers, owner operators is that we are high tech and high touch. And I know that WEX practices that as well. It's an exciting time in 2026, not only for WEX, but TTT and the industry. We share your optimism. And specifically to WEX, in WEX Capital, what do you have planned for the remainder of 2026?
Yeah, that actually ties into the last question you asked. So I'm definitely glad you threw that out there. 2026 has been a very exciting year for us so far as a whole, just because we're definitely, while we are all about that human touch, like I just mentioned, we're definitely still leaning into that new paradigm of AI in the trucking space.
Yeah.
And we're looking at different ways we can use it to help protect our customers in the back end. Our big initiative right now, we're actually using advanced real-time AI data analytics to act as sort of an automated shield and risk protection for our customer base. So we're actually using it to integrate smarter risk detection right into our broker credit database that I mentioned earlier too. It allows us to flag bad actors ahead of time before your customer even starts driving toward the pickup. We're able to, we're also doubling down on driver convenience this year with our 10-4 and Fleet Docs app. The 10-4 mobile app that allows you to find the lowest fuel price using your GPS location within our network. And Fleet Docs is also our all-encompassing mobile and web app that is used to submit paperwork, check on invoices, manage your factoring account, do credit checks, and everything in between. So big idea for this year isn't to replace the human touch, of course. We firmly believe that trucking is always going to need that in some fashion. It might look different now than it does 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. But right now, it's all about super important to try to fully integrate and use that next generation of technology to help handle admin paperwork and fight fraud. So we can protect our clients and help them focus entirely on doing what they do best. So
love it. That's enough. You have a full plate going into the back half of the year. Aaron, thank you for taking time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it. As we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our community today?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to come on the show, and a big shout out to your community as well. Trucking is the backbone of this country. We know how hard you guys work on a daily basis and kind of operate behind the scenes. Myself and my team, we're here to be a resource for you and help in any way that we possibly can. So whenever you get a chance, highly recommend you go to trucktractortrailer.com/factoring. Look up our WEX partnership with John's team, and let's help you get set up and get you paid today, so you can focus on what you know best, and that is booking loads, making money, and growing your company.
Excellent. Aaron, really great catching up with you today, and I look forward to having you on again to continue our conversation. Thanks again for joining us today. Have fun, make some money, and be safe out there.